Hello, bosses, and welcome to tonight's pregame Your Career Change kickoff hangout online. I'm Emily Aries, the founder and CEO of Bossed Up, and I am so excited for the night that we have ahead of us. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. Emily Aries, the founder and CEO of Bossed Up. And this is about to get very meta. So excited for I forgot to mute one little thing. We're going to get started in just a couple minutes. So in the meantime, if you are one of our early birds, hello, welcome. Thank you for being punctual. We're going to give folks just about a minute more to log on. So in the meantime, I am going to put up some slides and encourage you to tell us a little bit about why you're here by using that hashtag career pregame on Twitter. So go ahead and either say something in the chat bar to the right of this video, or you can chime in on Twitter with that hashtag career pregame. Tell us your name, tell us where you're tuning in from, and why you've chosen to join the pregame challenge. I see we've got a ton of people tuning in already. Thank you so much, bosses, for making time for this, for investing in your career this 8-week challenge and tonight to kick things off. I know Jackie from Bossed Up on our team is on, and she is so excited to tune in with us. We've got Liana from Rent the Runway who's going to share her story in just a few minutes. And we've got 25 bosses tuned in already. We're going to wait to just give a couple more minutes for folks to tune in. But in the meantime, share where you're calling in from or where you're tuning in from and why you joined tonight's challenge. I hope you're all settling in with either a glass of wine or a hot tea like I am tonight. I'm actually trying to keep my voice in check for all the speaking we've got coming up this week. So I hope you'll join me. Thanks for sharing, Annie. Yay for bosses starting their own businesses. Welcome, Annie. All right, we're going to give you 2 more minutes. All right, Emma, thanks for tuning in. 10 years, woo. A lot of DCers, I'm loving it. Loving it. We've got New York in the house. All right. 1 more minute and we will kick things off tonight. If you are one of our Rockstar early birds on time, thank you for being here. Just take a second to introduce yourself, your name, where you're from, and why you joined the pregame Your Career Change Challenge. You can either weigh in that comment box, that little chat bar to the right of the video, or you can tweet at us online. Yeah. All right, SJ. Loving it. I'm like awash in screens right now, so you'll have to forgive me. I've got like the chat bar on the left and Twitter on the right, and all of you fabulous bosses here tuning in tonight. Thanks so much for taking time to share your Tuesday evening with me. I'm Emily. Like I said, I'm Bossed Up's founder and CEO. Hopefully I've had the chance to meet a lot of you, especially our DC bosses and our New York City bosses who are chiming in. I'm so excited to kick off this challenge. It's the first 8-week challenge that we've ever done here at Bossed Up, and it is all about helping you craft a career with passion and purpose, which feeds right into our broader mission here at Bossed Up, which is to help you craft a happy, healthy, and sustainable career path. And this time around, we are going to get into the nitty-gritty about how to actually make that happen with a system of accountability that's going to help you with in-depth lessons, say that 3 times fast, and a community of courage all along the way. So I've got a couple of quick slides for us tonight. I'm just going to share my screen once more because I want to show you what we're in for tonight. We are really celebrating tonight, right? This is about kicking things off and introducing you to one another, because we're going to kick this challenge off like the total boss squad that we are. And I think some people say squad is passe now, but I am all about it because here at Bossed Up, getting bossed up is about joining a community of women who lift as we climb. We're going to tune in with Jackie, our content manager at Bossed Up, who's going to preview what is next, what's in store for you every week along the way, give you a little bit of context and a sense of where we're headed with this 8-week challenge. And of course, we're going to share some of our best secrets for making the most of the pregame Your Career Change Challenge. Then we're going to hear from my friend Liana from Rent the Runway, who is a fantastic total boss in every sense of the word. And she's got a really interesting story that she's going to share about how we first met and how she landed her job at fast-growing startup Rent the Runway, which is graciously sponsoring this challenge. And we are so excited to be partnering with a company like Rent the Runway that really believes in supporting women to feel their best and their most prepared for any event or any adventure that we find ourselves in. And yes, that includes getting some boss attire for those all-important interviews. I want to make sure that we have time tonight to take your questions. There's a lot of you online. We obviously are going to be communicating a lot with you on Facebook and on Twitter and all that good stuff, but there's just nothing like kicking off in person in real time. So we're going to take your questions, and as a thank you to you, boss, for sticking around, sticking online with us, and taking the time out of your evening to show just how committed you are to tuning in and making your job change a priority, I'm going to share a little surprise giveaway I have in store for you, just for those of you who are tuning in live at the end of tonight's conversation. Now listen, you can still share the pregame Your Career Change Challenge with the women out there you know could benefit from this program. So feel free to tweet at us and use that hashtag #CareerPregame, not just throughout the broadcast today, but to also share this opportunity for hands-on, in-depth support with the women in your world. Okay, so we're gonna lift as we climb, as bosses always do, and dive right into it. Now, before we go any further, I wanna hear from you. I'm so thrilled to see Caitlin from Manchester, New Hampshire, and Dana from New Jersey, and Catherine all tuning in from Detroit. I'm loving seeing just how national and international our community is. I wanna ask you to weigh in, if you haven't already, with where you're from and why you are here. And I want you to really think about that tonight. We got to ground ourselves in our intention here, okay? Time is the most valuable resource that each and every one of us has. And so by spending it here tonight, I want to be really focused on what you are looking to get out of this challenge. This is about you. This is about how you want to invest in not just your career, right? But in a life that makes you happy. And not just for the short term either, a life that makes you happy and fulfilled in a sustainable way. That's really what I call sustainable success. And you've been chiming in all throughout the past 4 weeks as women have joined the challenge. These are some of the amazing comments we're seeing in that Facebook group, the Courage Community. Christina's here because she finds herself drawn to other careers. She's shopping around. She's thinking maybe it's time to transition. Kara's here for confidence and assistance in making that job leap of her dreams. I love this from Nicole, who chimed in saying, I'm here to get my mojo back, right? I want to land that dream role, just like Sarah from DC, who needs that clarity, focus, and confidence. And Erin, chiming in from New York on the Facebook group, I think just a couple days ago, says, I got to flip my script in my head, and I got to not just get after that next job that's going to let me pay the bills, but really, how do I own my career? How do I craft one and create one in an engaged way, in an assertive way, so that it actually ends up being what I want? Here's the reality. It's a great time to find a job, right? We know that there's a lot of opportunity out there right now. Hiring is in fact up, as predictions from the labor market, the Bureau of Labor Statistics has predicted much higher hiring records that we've seen any other time in this past year. So this last quarter looks like it's going to be a strong one when it comes to hiring. But really, the whole process of going through the motions of figuring out exactly how to get everything ready for your career search or your job search or to make that next move, that can be a really scary and isolating experience. And so whatever brings you to the Pregame Your Career Change Challenge, if you, like me, were completely burnt out and had to make a change because you needed to learn to put your oxygen mask on first so you could sustain yourself in order to help others and be a better team player for whatever opportunity came next, or if you're just going through the motions, totally bored at work and plugging away, sort of watching time crawl by and want to live a life that's more, driven by purpose and passion, or if you're here because you've been stuck. You are stuck in a role that is not right for you. You're being underutilized, maybe even underpaid. I hear that a lot. And no, it's not you. It's a systemic problem that we absolutely need to deal with as a society. Whatever the reason, I want you to know that we are here to support you each and every step of the way. And the Bossed Up Pregame Your Career Change Challenge, we really I take that very seriously, right? As you can tell, this is a mission and a company I feel really strongly about. Otherwise, I wouldn't have quit my political career 3 years ago to start Bossed Up. And I'm just so proud of what Jackie and I and the whole Bossed Up team, and with the help of Rent the Runway, have pulled together for you. Because instead of, going through the very confusing process that is getting ready for a job search or a career change in isolation, we're going to get your action plan crafted together. That's really what Bossed Up is going to help you do in this particular challenge. The most important factor, regardless of what brought you here, is that you leave this challenge with an action plan. And tonight, I want to review that action plan so that we can give you a sense of what's next. So you know what's coming, so you know where every sort of piece every week fits into every other week. And so that you feel like we're not hiding information from you, right? This isn't a big secret. We're going to coach you. We're going to support you. We're going to team up and crowdsource this mother every step of the way. That's really what Bossed Up's all about. And I started Bossed Up because I don't believe any one of us, especially women, should have to go through the isolating, confidence-eroding process of navigating a career change, especially those that sort of call your own identity into question, alone. I remember when I was starting to make my first big career leap, I asked myself, can I be this fierce? Can I actually be proactive enough to do this on my own? And I had to sort of convince myself that I did, but in reality, it was the community that I surrounded myself with, the people that I surrounded myself with, that made that actually possible. So I know there's tons of us online tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so excited to hear more from each and every one of you. I'm going to be checking out these comments in the chat bar, but continue to weigh in there with why you're here, and any questions you have live, we're going to be monitoring. But first, I want to introduce you to, I want you to meet one of my community members, one of my right-hand woman, Jackie Butler, who's tuning in from the great state of Texas. She is our content manager, and she's been with Bossed Up for a little while now and has been a huge part of making this challenge possible. And she and I are so excited to sort of preview for you what is in store. So Jackie, we can hear you now. Can you pop on that camera and we will let you say hello to these bosses. Hey, Jackie.
Hello. Hi. So I'm Jackie Butler, and I'm the Bossed Up content manager. I joined the team in January as the online communications intern. I've since stuck on, and my job essentially with Bossed Up here is helping to brainstorm, create, and format any content that you see, and really making the blog a resource that you can use to help you in your job search. So I'm tuning in from Lubbock, Texas, where I'm a Master's of Public Administration student at Texas Tech University. So I'm working almost full-time in a day job and going to school full-time in the evenings. And I'm graduating this May, and I know I'm going to need a job soon here. It'll be my first full-time job search, and I'm so excited to be able to participate in this challenge along with you all for my first job search, because I know it's been since January when I updated my resume. So I know we all need to do that too. So hopefully with this challenge, we'll be able to help you really stick your landing for a great job search process. So next we're going to jump in a little bit more and talk about what the next 8 weeks are going to look like and how you're going to get the challenges for that. So for the most part, our lessons will be coming on Tuesdays to your inbox. So make sure you keep an eye out on Tuesdays for those. And on Saturday, you'll be getting a survey that you'll be able to follow up and talk about your process and if you've managed to complete the challenges. And you'll have to fill out those surveys every Saturday to be able to be eligible for our grand prize at the end of the 8 weeks. So part of our challenge here is the first week we'll be talking about clarifying your goals in audience. So you've probably already taken a look at this and been able to dive deep to be able to find the direction to fit for your goals for this challenge and your job search. Next, we'll be jumping into week 2 with rocking your resume. So we want to help you update your resume, especially if you're like me and haven't looked at your resume in almost a year. Next, we'll be writing objective statements to really help you tell your story and dive deeper into what kind of job you're looking for and how to tell somebody what job you're looking for in particular. And then on week 4, we'll be snapping new headshots. We're going to tell you a little bit more about how to get a new headshot, how to take it properly, and really hold yourself with a professional presence through that headshot. Next, we'll be jumping into week 5, where you'll prep your online presence. We'll give you a little bit more information about how exactly to use that headshot and how to prep your social media and your LinkedIn profile for that job search. Week 6, we're going to teach you how to tell your story and really sell a recruitment manager and why you're best for their company and what you're looking for in your job search and a role that would fit you best. Week 7 is going to be all about networking like a boss and being able to develop your network further to hopefully help you land a job that you're totally in love with and have a career crush on in the future. And then week 8, we want to set you up for success with finally starting your search the right way and being smart about it so that you can end up with that job that you love, whether it be in any variety of fields. So we'll help you get started with that as we're prepping you and sending you out to start that job search process. So next, we have our strategies, our secrets for success. You saw these in the Get Ready email, but we really want to emphasize on how important these are for your success throughout these 8 weeks. So first is the squad up. So we want you to find an accountability partner who can really help you make sure that this challenge isn't just another email that you get in your inbox on a weekly basis. We want somebody who can work one-on-one with you or in a group of gal pals that can help you really make sure you're accomplishing the challenges and the material in each lesson. Second, join the Bossed Up Courage community. So we've sent out the link multiple times in emails. If you need that, let us know and we'll make sure we get that to you. Join the Facebook Courage community and check in with us, share your progress with us, and let us know if you have questions or need help along the way. We're more than happy to help you and give you advice along the way. So that's what our community is there for, so that we can help you lift as you climb. And finally, we really want to emphasize that you need to set aside time for this challenge. It's how often do we make time for ourselves and for developing our careers? It doesn't happen very often if you're like me. So we want to focus on giving you that chance to set the time aside, schedule it into your calendar if you need to make sure that you're really focusing on this challenge in your own professional development and your job search as a whole. So those are our strategies for success. Don't be afraid to comment in the Courage community or ask questions there along the challenge. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jackie. So great to have you with us. And I am so excited to see all the responses in the chat bar here. I can barely keep up in our chat, but I want to say, just to reiterate, it is so hard to make time for ourselves. We all know this, right? We overcommit. We find ourselves wearing lots of different hats to lots of different people. I already saw in the Courage community, some of you've got side hustles on job searches and 9-to-5s, and oh, by the way, families and children and loved ones. And even if you are an unmarried lady like me, our communities take time and our parents have things that you need to care for them about. So I get it. I think part of the reason why Bossed Up is so important and part of the reason I feel so strongly about these issues is that nationally women are tapped for time, more so than our lovely male counterparts. As much as they might be busy and stressed out, we tend to wear more hats. We tend to have more obligations in relation to other people that we care about. I want you to think critically about the connection between time and focus and achievement. I fundamentally believe that focus is a better predictor of success than intelligence or effort alone. Focus is one of the most limited resources that I see less and less of, I should say. And that is one of the things that I know a lot of you are here for. I know that's a lot of what we're tuning in for tonight is community, is courage, is, yes, some lessons and advice and support, but really what we need is to give ourselves permission. We need to give ourselves permission to set aside, I don't know, an hour for ourselves and our future every single week for the next 8 weeks. And here's the deal. If you put that on your Google Calendar, because I'm obsessed with Google Calendar, or if you got a written planner and you write it down, even if it doesn't happen, at least you know it's there and you can move it to the next day, or you can move it to that Saturday morning. I want you to know that we're going to check in on you every single Saturday. We're going to ask you to share your progress and tell us about your challenges so we can help even more. And it's not to guilt trip you, okay? We're not here to shame you if you've had a crazy busy week. We're here to support you anyway. I don't want you guys to quit halfway through. I don't want this to become just another email, like Jackie said, hounding you in your inbox. I want this to be a safe space where we can share honestly and authentically about not only how hard it is to navigate a job search nowadays, but also how busy and crazy our lives are in general. So I just want to reiterate, as Jackie so eloquently put, that this is a space where we're going to get real, where we're going to be honest with each other. We're not going to shame each other. We are really and truly here to invest in one another's successes. And I firmly believe that it's like almost like karma, right? When we help and support one another, we help and support our own networks, right? We grow our own power when we support other women killing it. So on that note, I want to just go through a couple other logistics, and then I can't wait for you to hear from a woman who's totally killing it, Liana from Rent the Runway, and then we're going to take your questions. I know that my telescoping screen here is going to give some of you vertigo. So hold on one sec. I'm going to get back to my slides real quick. Okay, you should be able to see this now, I hope. Couple of quick things just for some final logistics around expectations. As Jackie said, all of those in-depth lessons are going to be hitting your inbox every Tuesday morning, right around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern. If you did not get this morning's lesson, it's a distinct possibility because I know lots of people have been signing up all day today. You should get it in your inbox tomorrow. If tomorrow 10 o'clock Eastern passes and you still don't see it, ping me, go to the Courage community or email us at info@bossedup.org and we will make sure it gets to you. This is our first time doing this big a challenge, so we know that there's going to be some kinks to work out, but Jackie and I are here to make sure you get those in-depth lessons each and every week. Check-in reports will be asked of you on Saturdays. So Saturday around noontime, you're going to get an email with a link to submit your weekly report. Again, this is not a way to make you feel guilty. It's just a way for you to know that we're checking up on you and we want to hear from you. How are things progressing and what challenges are you facing? This way you can measure your progress week to week. Yes, we've gained this community of accountability. We're nationwide and beyond, I should say, because we've got a pretty bossin' group of Canadians on the Bossed Up community now. So I want you to know that we are here for you. If you ask for help in that community, you are likely to get it. If you are in that community and you see someone asking for help them out. Help a sister out. That's what we're here for. And finally, I just want to remind you of the killer grand prize package. Y'all are in it to win it. If you check in every week, like Jackie said, you are eligible for our grand prize made possible by the fabulous Rent the Runway friends that we've got. That includes a ticket to Bossed Up Bootcamp, our flagship training for women. It's a weekend-long training that we host all over the country for women navigating career transition. If you've already been to Bossed Up Bootcamp, woohoo, good for you. You can either come back or you can gift that ticket to a friend in need. And we're going to be announcing our 2017 bootcamp dates soon. So if you can't make it this year, we've got a bootcamp coming up in just a couple of days here in DC. October, we're almost full. And in November, mid-November, we'll be up in Boston. From our friends at Rent the Runway, they're gifting our grand prize winner a complimentary, I can speak today, styling consultation and a rental up to $100, which is amazing. I'm a big fan of their unlimited subscription myself, which I use all the time. If you've been to Power Hour with me, you've probably seen Rent the Runway in action. I don't team up with companies I don't absolutely adore. So I'm so excited to have Rent the Runway supporting all of us during this challenge. You're gonna get a swag bag full of not yet released bossed up goodies, including this brand new mug that I'm sipping from tonight, which you'll see in a second. And our tote bag, our signature tote bag you can only usually get from Bossed Up Boot Camp, and lots of other amazing goodies that are going to be in the Bossed Up store real soon. And our grand prize winner gets an hour-long career consultation with me, because that's really the one-on-one support I know a lot of us want. Unfortunately, it's not something I even make available very often, because boss has got a boss. I got very little time. So I'm really excited to make time for our grand prize winner. And it's really a way of rewarding those of you who are taking this challenge seriously and making the most of it, or showing how committed you are by checking in every single week. So a big thanks to our amazing sponsor, Rent the Runway. And I want to, before I release tonight's special giveaway, just for y'all for tuning in, I want to welcome my friend Liana, who's going to join us in just a second. Liana is with Rent the Runway here in DC. And Liana and I actually met a little while ago now, back when Bossed Up was just getting off the ground, it feels like. And she was this spitfire of a total boss who originally we met to talk about maybe having her come on as an intern, but she happened to be in the middle of a job search that landed Liana at Rent the Runway in the most fascinating of ways. So Liana is someone who is gonna tune in just a second here, because she has a fantastic and what I think is a really inspiring story about how she stood out from a very crowded marketplace of applicants for such a hotshot startup like Rent the Runway when they were just getting to the DC market. So Liana, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. How are you doing, boss?
Hey, thank you so much, Emily and Jackie and Bossed Up, for having me tonight. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay. I'm so glad to have you here too. So share a little bit about, I know we have career crushes all the time. We're going to have our career crush webinar tomorrow, as usual, tomorrow afternoon, featuring women like you who've just crafted careers that I have a total career crush on. Oh my God, Rent the Runway Unlimited order has shipped.
It's like creepy how they're like always around me all the time.
Oh my God, that timing was so freakishly wonderful.
That is so funny.
Plan that, bosses, but I just ordered some amazing dresses. I'm not bullshitting you. I don't support brands unless I like really love them. So Liana, I'm getting all distracted because I'm in love with Rent the Runway and you. But tell us about yourself, what you do at Rent the Runway, and how you got there.
Sure. So my name is Liana. I live in Washington, D.C., and I've been with Rent the Runway for almost 2 years now. And I kind of came upon Rent the Runway because they've always been one of my favorite companies, and I've always been super interested in the business model and everything. And they came to DC in 2014 in November, and I was in another job at a nonprofit, and was kind of stagnant, kind of like looking for the next thing, like wondering. I had been there almost 4 years, and was kind of putting some feelers out, wasn't really sure, had no real motivation to get going. I was just kind of going with the flow. And one day I walked into work and we had our normal team meeting, and completely out of the blue, our entire department got laid off. Like just like that. And it was like a total shocker. And I was just like, what? And it was like in the movies where they're like, okay, pack up your desk and be outside in 20 minutes. And I was like, okay. And so it was a complete like, wow, whoa, okay, this is happening. Okay, so that's kind of what lit the fire under me. But
right. A career change, kick in the pants, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So what happened then? What was your, how did you even start to pick up the pieces after something like that?
It's a lot. I mean, I think anyone who's been through anything similar knows, like, emotionally, it completely, like, changes you completely, in good and, not so good ways. So I think the number one thing, anytime you go, if you are, have to go through something like that, is to really just feel it and just get past that part. Like, there's just emotion involved with that. And just, you have to feel it. If you just ignore it, it will just, I kind of just build up and snowball and, like, come out in an inappropriate way. So I think, like, the number one thing I did was literally just feel it. Like, the first day I went right home, called my mom and did all of that. And
Yeah.
then, luckily for me, it was like literally just a few hours of me feeling like that. And then I was like, you go through all those emotional stages, and I was like, I'm gonna come back firing and ready, and, like, ready to go. Like, this might be a blessing in disguise. I'm actually kind of like, it's a roller coaster. So,
Right. Right.
and that emotionally is a lot. So, first of all, just feel it, just go through it, and then get to work. And so, like, I kind of, heard everything that, like, the situation I was in, developed a timeline, which I thought was super important. I looked at, like, how much time am I going to have to feel it? How much time am I going to have to do some informational interviewing? How much time will I have to do my research? Like, all of that kind of stuff. Like, I put myself on a timeline, and I said to myself, okay, you have 4 weeks to just do, like, just do what you want. Like, just feel it out. Like, look into companies that you love. And that's really where I started, was I'm going to go somewhere next where I love them. It might not be the right position,
Right.
but it's going to be somewhere where every day I really believe in the message, and I really believe in the product or anything like that. So luckily, Rent the Runway I couldn't believe it, because Rent the Runway is just in New York City. They
Right.
were opening a store in DC, and I was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, Rent the Runway was in, like, my top 3 companies I would love to work for.
Wow.
Yeah. So I did the typical, like, the everyday kind of, like, normal application process.
Yeah.
I absolutely had, like, no connections to Rent the Runway, like, completely, like, no one to call up who was, like, legit,
Right.
and be like, hey, can you ask them to, like, look over my resume? Like, because sometimes that really does work.
Right. Totally.
But I had, like, zero connections. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to have to get a little creative here. And one of, like, the best things that I learned at my old job was to really utilize canva.com,
Yep.
which is canva.com. And it's, like, kind of like a free graphic design thing that you can practice a lot and really master to do almost anything nowadays.
Yeah.
And so I essentially just spent literally, like, a solid week working on a 3-page informational resume, like, explaining, like, why I would be perfect for Rent the Runway, and explaining the customer in DC and how I understood her, and just why I loved Rent the Runway, essentially, and what I would bring, to the business.
And I love that, because I remember looking this over with you, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember distinctly, you put yourself in the shoes of the hiring person at Rent the Runway. You knew that they needed to tap into the DC market, right? You had something that Rent the Runway didn't have, which was a DC knowledge base and network. And so a lot of us as job seekers feel like the job has everything. They would be gifting me to hire me, right? I have nothing to bring to the table. And you said, here's what I do know about the DC career woman who's your client. Here's what I would do if I were you at Rent the Runway. Here's what I would help you do. So you really positioned yourself as an asset to their goal, right?
Exactly.
You took your goal and made that the center focus of your resume and your whole pitch to them. It wasn't just, this is my favorite company, please hire me, I love you so much. It's like, here's what I'm going to do for you.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
And it started off like, I literally just drew it out on paper, like with pencil and paper, and drew it out, kind of like edited it. I got a lot of feedback from you, Emily, and from just colleagues that I was with and people I admire. I took suggestions, took edits, like just did all of that. And I remember submitting it, and literally I didn't get through an episode of America's Next Top Model before they called.
Wow.
And yeah, so I sat down, started to paint my nails, watching America's Next Top Model, because you're balancing that research with, like, you know, things to do. And the phone rang, and they were all about it. And they were like, we just got this. I'm so, like, we've never seen anything like this. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I was surprised. Like, you know, like, oh, okay, yeah. And so went down to the interview. And I mean, from there, it's kind of like,
Great.
you know, from there. And here's another key thing, too. When I was talking to the recruiter about it, you know, I assumed that he would pass that right along to the people I was interviewing with. Just assumed, like, because I was like, oh, this is like a cool thing. Like, of course he's going to pass it along. And that didn't happen. So when I went and sat down in the interview in Georgetown, I brought printed copies because I just wanted to let them, like, I figured in my mind, if they keep it, then if they have it physically in their hands, they're not going to forget.
Right.
And so printed it out. They had absolutely no idea. So
My goodness.
they were looking at me like, oh my God, like, we had no idea. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is awesome. Like, this is exactly what we're looking for. And it was just like, oh, thank God I printed that out. Like, that's awesome. So, and they talk about it to this day. Like, right now, like, yeah. And so it's kind of like in retail now, like, and now they even have, like, when you're up for a management position at Rent the Runway Retail, they do a project like that. Like, they really challenge you to do that. And that's something they were like, you know, we got from you. We would have never done that. And so, yeah.
Snaps to you. I'm here snapping along.
Thank you.
So much. I want to hear more from you in a second about Rent the Runway, and just for those of us who aren't so familiar, what it's all about. But I also just want to underline a couple of things Liana said, right? First, she set herself on a timeline that was induced by a layoff that she didn't see coming, which I know has happened to at least one or two of you in the Facebook group who've chimed in already. But I just want to underscore how no one is paying attention to your career like you are. That's it. You're the only one you're beholden to, and that sucks for those of us who need deadlines to get things done, myself included. Jackie knows this all too well, as in terms of being the blog manager that keeps me on my toes when it comes to my writing deadlines. So if you're like me and it's hard to meet your own deadlines, that's what this challenge is here for. We're going to set those deadlines for you. So we're here to help. We're here to remind you that no one else is keeping score. No one else is making your job search a priority. So you've got to do it. Set that time aside. I know that I'm invested in you, and the whole team here wants to see that happen. The second, and actually someone here, I just want to, on that same point, Aaron tweeted out a couple minutes ago when you were saying this, Liana, structure and support equals win. And that's so true. It's all about having a little bit of structure in the process that seems so amorphous and structureless, which is that whole job search process. The other thing I just want to underline here is that Liana went from the nonprofit advocacy job for 4 years, okay, to retail, to rocking it in retail with the job of her dreams, or the company of her dreams at the very least.
Yeah.
So I just want to say to those of us who are having trouble marketing ourselves or reframing our strengths, it can be done. It has been done. It's sort of what we specialize in here at Bossed Up, especially at Bossed Up Bootcamp. But throughout the course of this challenge, do not get stuck in how you've been defined in the past. You can redefine yourself. And we're going to help you make that case so you're irresistible to employers. So I just thank you so much for sharing your story, Liana. I'm always inspired. I know that our ladies are inspired. And I'm seeing a lot of yas in the chat room here from Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. So real quick, Liana, we are so excited to team up with you, to team up with Rent the Runway in DC. You saw our Style to Slay out for the day in our email this morning, ladies. Liana has helped make it possible. So you're going to see a new outfit of the week every Tuesday in your inbox as part of that inspiration and information that's going to keep you bossing. But tell us a little bit more about Rent the Runway, Liana, and just, and I think we'll wrap it up after that. But I'd love to hear more about about the company and how badass clients like myself are just loving it.
So Rent the Runway was started about 7 years ago, just online. So essentially, our two co-founders had this idea where they wanted to make your closet endless. And, it really started with one of the co-founders, visiting her sister during Thanksgiving and realizing she just spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on this gorgeous dress, yet she had a closet full of dresses. And she was like, why are you spending all this money? And she's like, well, I've already been photographed in all the other dresses, so I can't wear them again. And that was like the light bulb moment. And so Jen and Jenny started Rent the Runway. They were friends in Harvard Business School. And really, just from the bare bones, like scrappy, put it together, like just started this company where, we buy designer dresses and rent them for 10 to 15% of the retail price. And so now it's not only just online, it's in Chicago, it's in New York City, it's in DC, and we're expanding like crazy. So we're super excited to be involved with Boss Up. Jen and Jenny are huge supporters of women in business. Actually, I think I just saw an article today that said 70% of the women, or 70% of the employees at Rent the Runway are women.
Nice.
And they are, constantly encouraged to be entrepreneurs. We're constantly encouraged to step outside of our normal roles. And, we're redefining fashion. We're redefining like logic. We're redefining tech. We're redefining supply chain companies. Like really just, it's all over the place and it's just booming. It's crazy.
I love it. Well, Liana, thank you so much. It feels so good to support other women-owned businesses, startups, especially in the DC space. You've got to check it out. I took our ladies on a tour on Instagram. What is that called? Instagram? Snapchat?
Insta story, yeah.
On the Insta story, and I'll do it again sometime this month because I'm going in for some styling myself. So stay tuned at Bossed Up ORG on Instagram, and I'll take you behind the scenes. I'll tweet it out when I do as well. But it's so great to work with a company that it reminds me as a more mature company of where Little Bossed Up is now, right? Scrappy women start changing the game. Rent the Runway really focuses on delighting its customers, and I am a delighted customer, and that's why I thought I'd introduce y'all to it. As a reminder, Liana has hooked us up with we all get a 20% discount off of your next rental. So just keep an eye out for that at the bottom of every one of our challenge emails this week. And think about it, holidays are just around the corner. So check out that inventory and I'll be done plugging it. I really can't stop because it feels so good because I love Rent the Runway. But we've come to the fun part of the evening. I want to see your challenges. Thanks, Laura, for the snaps. I'm loving it. What questions do y'all have? And I'm going to share a little surprise. So start thinking of questions, tweet them out, use that hashtag career pregame, or use that little chat box to the right of your screen. Ask away any questions for Jackie, Liana, or myself about the challenge, about Bossed Up, about Rent the Runway, about how we can support you and just absolutely slaying the day. And, oh God, I need to, I'm getting too excited here. I swear it's just tea in my coffee mug tonight. I'm going to share my screen and share a little surprise I got for y'all. Just for sharing tonight. I know a lot of you have already tweeted it out. I want you to just be reminded that we can share this challenge, this opportunity with other women in our lives who need the kind of structure and support and accountability that we already reviewed tonight. It's not too late. Share the Pregame Your Career Change Challenge with your friends online. And just for doing so tonight, we're going to pick a random person who shares this with the hashtag Career Pregame on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. You're going to win already a 1-hour career jam session with me. So at any point in time, you and I can jam one-on-one to work through any one of the weekly challenges during this 8-week challenge, or at the end, you're already a winner, not just the grand prize winner, but for tonight, just for sharing, for spending time with us tonight. We're going to pick one of you who chooses to share this opportunity and encourage your badass boss friends to get in on this career pregame challenge. So the website, which I should have put on this pretty little slide here, as you might recall, is bossedup.org/pregame. That's bossedup.org/pregame. Make sure to share that on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you haven't already, encourage your friends to tune in to join us because we're going to get them all caught up tomorrow. And if you use that hashtag so we can see it on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, we're going to pick one of y'all. And thank you for sharing, because I really believe that, I know it gets annoying to be asked to share all this stuff online all the time, but I want to remind you that you're actually helping someone out there who needs it, right? Every one of us can feel isolated in this job search process, but by sharing an opportunity like this, a totally free opportunity, I might add, they can get in on this 8-week challenge with you, and they're going to thank you for it. I promise you that. And as a thank you on my end, we all get to jam on your careers. So we've got some questions already. Let's do this, ladies. If you're ready, share with me online. We've got a question here already. Are the webinars weekly? The answer is no. We're going to have this kickoff webinar, obviously, tonight. And then we are going to, oh, did I share my screen at all during that time? Or did I not? I did. Okay, cool. So you can see me again. Just making sure. We're going to have a halfway through webinar. So at the 4-week mark, which I believe is in late October or early November. And then we're going to have an end of the whole challenge webinar. So these live Google Plus Hangouts, if they're working for you, we'll do more of them. But right now we're planning now, midway through, and at the end. I will make sure to keep you posted in those Tuesday emails. And I might do some Facebook Live video hangouts in the Courage community group too. That's a fun way for me to just do it on the road. The challenge is my schedule is crazy this fall. I'm all over the place. So with boot camps and the speaking I do at companies and organizations who are getting their ladies bossed up, I'm on the road for like most of the fall. But maybe Jackie or I can do some live chats with y'all in the Courage community. So tell me if you'd like that. Will you be able to review this webinar again? I had no sound several times. Oh, that's sad, Sona. I'm so sorry to hear that. But yes, I hope you've got sound now. But yes, we're going to, once we stop this recording, it'll be live on our YouTube page, and I will send out the link to you so you can watch this again. Sorry to hear about that if there's noise issues, but I'd love to hear more. I know that Facebook, or not Facebook, good Lord, Google has just transitioned Hangouts to YouTube. So I'm sure there are a couple hiccups there. Any other questions? I'm not seeing any on Twitter because my Twitter's down, Jackie. So if you see any on there, shout them out. I just want to make that available. Yay, I'm seeing all the tweets. Yes, we'll make sure the webinar is available tomorrow too. All right, ladies, I'm not seeing anything else. So ask now or forever hold your peace. Is that how it goes? Oh, we've got, okay, wait, who's in? Oh yeah, Sarah, I like it. I'm seeing all the tweets going out. I love it. I'm so excited to see you all, Sharon, and we will notify our winner of the Career Pregame giveaway tonight for sharing tomorrow morning. So make sure you share this with your friends on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we will pick a winner at random. Make sure we can see it by using that hashtag. Yay, I'm so thrilled you've taken some time out of your week already. I want to just close by reminding you that this does take a little bit of time. Patience and impatience. It's something I think about a lot, right? We have to have impatience, and I think we millennials have this very strong in our generation. We have to have impatience to say that the status quo is not good enough, to say that I'm daring enough to change my life, that I'm daring enough to change my career to better my life. And so I encourage impatience in that way. And yet, the flip side of that coin, we have to have the patience to see that process through. And God knows that takes some time. These things don't always happen overnight. They don't always happen before the end of an episode on Netflix. Although, Liana, that is amazing to hear. And we are so happy for you. And I just want to encourage each and every one of us to proceed, get started on our challenge today. We already started talking through that in-depth lesson in your inbox this morning. Goal and audience. Ground yourself in those two principles of persuasive communication. If you've got questions, Jackie and I are here to help you every step of the way. Fire away in that courage community. And I just cannot wait to hear about the progress to come in the next few weeks. Thank you all so much for being a part of this kick-ass community. Thanks for tuning in tonight, for sticking with us. And thank you, Liana and Jackie, for tuning in and for sharing your story. I cannot wait to get Boston with all of you. Have a good rest of your night, ladies. And we'll talk to you soon.